For more on this story, we are joined by Nebal Farsakh, who's a spokesperson for the Palestine Red Crescent. Nebal, great to have you here with us on TRT World. So we are now 6 months into the war, and experts have been warning of a looming famine in Gaza. In fact, according to the United Nations, famine will hit Gaza around May. But when I speak to my correspondent out of Gaza, Nizar Sadawi, he tells me it's already here. Tell me, what's your navigation through this?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. The situation in Gaza is beyond catastrophic, and famine is reality on the ground. We see famine among the displaced people who barely can find anything to eat. People are literally starving. The situation is more dire in the area of Gaza City and the north, which has been almost completely denied access to humanitarian aid, with very little aid trucks managed to arrive the area of Gaza City and the north. And this had made the people rely more on wild plants as well as animal feed even to make bread. The situation even in the area of central Gaza and the south as Rafah and Khan Yunis is also people there are struggling in order to have food. People don't have regular access to food as well as drinkable water and medications. Everyone in Gaza is struggling in order to have very little food just to survive. And as for the humanitarian aid access, since the beginning of the entry of a humanitarian aid trucks that managed to enter the Gaza Strip is still a drop in the ocean. It doesn't fulfill the need of the entire population. And here we emphasize that the entire population are now completely rely on humanitarian assistance. Since the war has gone almost 6 months, the markets are almost empty. And even if people manage to find anything in the market, the prices are very much high. That is very important as we continue repeating and calling on the international community to ensure safe, sustained, and unimpeded humanitarian access to all areas of Gaza Strip, including north of Gaza.
Now, Nebal, if Israeli attacks do not stop in the foreseeable future, what do you think is going to happen with the humanitarian catastrophe? How much worse could it get?
The situation now is literally beyond catastrophe, and of these Israeli attacks will continue to happen. I can't even imagine what the situation will be. As you highlighted, the number of people who were killed are almost over 33,000 were killed. 70% of them are children and women. More than 70% of civilians' homes have been destroyed. We have seen significant attacks even on the healthcare system as well as hospitals. The infrastructure is almost completely damaged, and only 10 hospitals are now partially operating in order to provide healthcare services for more than 2 million people in Gaza. The situation is unimaginable. Civilians struggle every single day in order to have food and water, medications, and even have access to healthcare. People are also struggling in order to have a safe place to stay in and to keep and to protect their families, as well as we as humanitarians and aid agencies who struggle every single day to continue providing our life-saving services. Since the beginning of the war and up to this moment, 15 PRCS members were killed while they were on duty trying to save people's lives. Two of our hospitals, we only have 2 hospitals, and both of them were taken out of service. Al-Quds Hospital in Gaza City, which went out of service at the beginning of the war, and now Al-Amal Hospital, also in Khan Yunis, was taken out of services. As for our ambulances, at least 22 of our ambulances were taken out of service due to the Israeli attacks. Almost 28 other ambulances were damaged because of the Israeli attacks. And up to this moment, 8 of my colleagues are still under detention and their whereabouts are still unknown. Colleagues who were released lately, they told us about mistreatment, beating, dehumanization from the Israeli soldiers who arrested them. And the situation on the ground, as you all know, is still worsening. We have all seen the latest attack on the aid workers from the WCK. If the international community will not intervene urgently to provide protection for civilians and healthcare workers in order to continue providing our life-saving services, then the situation is going to be more. I can't literally find the exact word to describe how bad is the situation now and what is next if this war is going to be continued.
Now, Nebal, you work for Palestine Red Crescent. In your time with this organization, have you seen something like this before?
I have spoke to all of my colleagues in Gaza Strip, whether they are in north of Gaza, middle of Gaza, or in the south. What they are witnessing every single day is unimaginable and unprecedented. They have worked for years, more than 20 years, some of them, and they are telling me this is like something that they have never ever experienced in regards of the scale of the attacks at the civilians' home, the numbers of civilians. They are transporting them from under the rubble and transport them to the hospitals is just unimaginable. Adding to it, the number of humanitarians and aid workers who were killed during this 6 months is also unimaginable. Even us, only the PRCS, we have lost 25 members, 15 of them were on duty. So the scale of the attacks and the destruction of the infrastructure and specifically targeting everyone. This war, the title is There is no safe place in Gaza,
Right.
and there is no protected persons. Whether you are a doctor, a journalist, a paramedic, or a civilian, a child, a woman, or whatsoever, everyone is being targeted.
Nebal Farsakh, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.